Oh, Jim, you know what that means? That, of course, means there's still more WWE to talk about here.
I thought it was a riverboat.
Why don't we... A riverboat? What river?
The river of no return.
Well, let's go back to the state of euphoria, wherever we are over here. WWE Raw aired last night as we are recording.
Boy, howdy, it sure did.
I still try to watch it live because I find that I'll watch more of it live than if I have to go and fast forward through it or whatever on DVR. And I keep forgetting they have a new start time, so I keep tuning in at 8 o'clock. And then at 9:30 when it ends, I'm like, what happened? So I got to remember, it's 7 o'clock now.
Yes, well, tape a note to your computer screen where you do all your big business. Remember to watch Raw because you don't want to miss an acting experience, a theater in the round type of emoting like we have never seen. Folks, it was like that the Actors Studio met the Stanislavski method, and there was Betty Davis, and oh, those Betty Davis eyes. This was the single cringiest, phoniest, fakest, most childish, what the fuck that I have ever seen on. This was not even routine AEW stuff. This took it to a whole new level. And you alluded to it earlier in the program, Brian, when we were talking about it, but now the time is here. Can you in any way defend the performances of Io Sky, Kairi Sane, and Oscar the Grouch that we saw poor Rhea Ripley mired into on Raw?
Poor Rhea Ripley, come on.
She comes out again, looks like a movie star. She talks like a goddamn movie star. She wrestles like a movie star. She's the most over woman on the roster, and she comes out and she has to interact with this group of, I can't even, amateur thespians would be a compliment to what this was. It's also, you cannot tell me that it is not a racial slap in somebody's face to make these women act like they are acting or act as stupid as they're acting. And it made it for phony wrestling. So if anybody's, what are they trying to cool Rhea Ripley off on purpose because I have anointed her as the next female action star in the movie business, that she's too big for all of this, that she needs to go on to Hollywood, and now they're trying to cool her off by making her swim around in this pool of amateurs? To go ahead and defend any of this, the EOs and the Carries and the...
Well, I didn't think I was going to defend any of it, but based on what you said, there is a little bit I'll defend. Let me just say with Rhea, maybe she is going to the movies. Not in a bad way, like some others we've seen, but she's noticeably dropped a lot of weight. And again, usually when people do that, they're going to auditions to try to get a role or something. So it makes me wonder if that's what's going on there. The critiques you just had in this segment of Asuka and Kairi Sane, I don't think are necessary. Because I didn't think they were the problem here. I thought one person was the problem here.
Well,
Io Sky,
all three had a hand in it.
Io Sky was embarrassing in this segment. And the facial reactions from the moment she walked out. I remember thinking, oh, I've never seen her walk out and not do like that weird, dip, that little dance that she does that kind of, I think was one of the things that originally from the moment she came out turned you off to her. Just like, what is this shit? She didn't do that. She walks out there regular, but when you get to her face, she's making almost like childish facial expressions to attempt to illustrate that she's upset, but it was so unbelievable. Lee Strasberg said no. No, it was just so unbelievable.
It was a frozen crying face with no tears.
It was really bad. Again, I didn't have a problem with Asuka and Kairi Sane. They were the heels who ran in there and caused a bunch of damage and did a bunch of shit.
But hold on.
An amazing elbow drop from Kairi Sane. I just thought Io Sky, this may have gone a little long, but I thought Io Sky, I thought Io Sky was specifically, and I've defended her and I defend her in-ring work to you, but this was really embarrassingly bad, I thought.
Rhea Ripley comes out there and she's mad at Carrie and Oscar for what they did to Io. And they've misted her also, Oscar has. And she calls them out, and out come the Kabuki Warriors. But instead, Io came out, as you said, with it's a frozen crying face with no tears. Like that's if she just scrunches up real hard, that people will think that she's crying and upset. And it breaks her heart to say it. But Rhea, you were right about Asuka and Carrie. But they're my family and I still love them. And the crowd boos that. And again, why is she being presented, made to talk, allowed to talk like this, like she's 8 years old and a mental simpleton? And then Oscar and Carrie pop up on the screen with subtitles. Oscar's talking. Part of it's English, part of it's Japanese, but there's subtitles. But while she is cutting the promo that, well, you know, Io can apologize. And then both you and Carrie can be my students again. And Carrie is next to her nodding and smiling like she's doing a hostage video, like she's scared of this woman. And just please do what she says, Io, and then you can come home and I won't have to act like I'm crying also. Why is she 8 years old? We can be family again. What all this material, is this for take your daughter to work day? What is this for? And then they said, but for Rhea, it's too late. And I'm like, Rhea looks like she could kick the shit out of all three of you people. But then Io, again, was looking like she was going to throw up to try to register the upset that she has over these horrible threats. You won't be able to be our family anymore on the wrestling show. And Rhea tells Asuka to go to hell and says, Io, you have to trust me. You can't go back to them. And then Io makes another scrunch face and no tears. And Io says, I'm sorry, Rhea. And she screams, I need time. And she leaves the ring to faint murmurs from the crowd who is fed up with this fucking idiot. Why the fuck would you want to go back with these people? This is so childish. And Rhea having to reason with this girl like she's giving advice to her young niece. They're all presented like they're simpletons. And then Oscar and Carrie jump in the ring and jump on Rhea and start beating the shit out of her. And Io turns around. And it looked like that she was either to try to act like she was conflicted as to what to do, whether to make the save or not. She was Bruce Banner turning into the Hulk, or she was trying to shit a porcupine. I'm not sure which. Can you deny that either of those descriptions, Brian?
Again, I don't think you are being unfair about Io Sky's performance in this. I thought it was embarrassing.
So then finally she says, oh, hell, I'll go on in there. And she went in and threw Asuka down, and Carrie overacted. And Io made weird faces and stagey waving arm motions and screeched. And then Asuka sprayed Io in the Ios. And then I sprayed Io in the Ios. And then Rhea tackled Asuka, but Carrie jumped Rhea, and Rhea beat up Carrie, but went to give her the riptide. And then, continuing in the streak of women's matches on the WWE program containing the botches, Rhea's going to give the riptide, and Asuka comes from behind with a roundhouse kick that was supposed to hit Rhea in the head, but that completely missed her, wasn't even close. And everybody saw it. And then Rhea was like flinched, like, oh, shit, I didn't feel anything, but I was supposed to sell it, and just kind of let go of the hold. And the crowd went, oh. And then they posted Rhea Ripley twice, gave her 2 back fists and an elbow off the top rope. So the only legitimate professional in the ring of this band of merry misfits that either botched physically or verbally or fucking performance-wise, thespianly, was the one that was left laying in the middle of the ring and everybody beat her up. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, this seemed a bit convoluted.
Yeah.
On top of the bad acting, it went a while. And yeah, I don't think anything negative you say about Io Sky's performance of this is unfair. She was terrible here.
What? But who's approving these things? Are there no prisons, no workhouses? Who's the producers and who's the head?
Levesque.
Well, I mean, who's encouraging this? As Dusty said one time, who's the head, you bangy? The fuck?
Well, Raw's off to a great start. What else did you see on Raw, Jim?
Well, Rusev wrestled Dominic Mysterio, and Dominic beat him with a ball kick and a tight pull. And Bayley wrestled Raquel, and Lyric ran in, and they fought. And LA Knight beat Kofi Kingston, and none of this was grabbing my lever or tickling my taint. About an hour and a half into the match, here comes Seth Rollins. And I think, okay, well, if we're back in the main event scene, see what's going to go on here. And Brian, they sang "Whoa" forever. And then they chanted CM Punk. And then they chanted OTC. And then they sang Cody Rhodes. And I was screaming, let him talk. His entrance started. And 5 minutes later, Seth Franklin Rollins said his first word.
Well, he milks it too. At some point, he could stop them. He could say, I'm a heel. Let me stop these fans having a great time and deliver.
You know what would really stop him, what would get him started is that they'd stop on their own and say, okay, motherfucker, we bought a ticket to see you, not to sing to you. You do something for us.
Well, actually, I think some of those fans may have bought a ticket so they could sing to him as opposed to actually care about what he's going to do. That's where we are.
I understand milking crowds and getting reactions. We taught that at wrestling school. That's as old as the hills. The problem is they've never before in history have we had crowds where they're just happy to just sit there and sing and chant names instead of actually getting to the point of any fucking thing. Anyway, it's 1-on-1 at Crown Jewel, which is not in Saudi Arabia. It's in Australia. Wallaby darned. It's in Australia. And the winner is not only the Crown Jewel champ, but according to Seth, the winner will decide the direction of the industry for the next 10 or 20 years. What kind of math is he doing? He knows how old he is. He's going to be doing this till he's like 57 or what? What's happening here?
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway.
I don't know if that makes too much sense. Last year, Cody beat Gunther at Crown Jewel.
Where is Gunther?
He's, I guess, taking time off. When was the last time we saw him? Was it SummerSlam?
Son of a bitch. I'd like to get, if Brock's going to be around, maybe we'll get that out of the thing. That would be just swell. But anyway, Seth talked for 5 minutes. I don't know. Hold a gun to me. I don't know what the fuck he said. He's talking to people. And then Cody's music played and his entrance and his chants, and they sang Cody Rhodes again. And it was about 3 minutes from the time the music started till he got in the ring and actually spoke a word. And then he wants to know who's in control, Seth or Heyman, that thing. And that's good. That's story is fine. I think it could be told in much less time. And Seth is saying that everything goes through him, all the decisions, but he's touchy about it. And they proceeded to go back and forth for about another 5 or 6 minutes. And then Seth left. And this whole thing was 20 minutes for them to come out, be serenaded, talk to each other, and leave without any revelations or revolution.
Yeah, this was a big, long ball of nothing. Took forever, went nowhere. They're doing the match. It's just weird how they're doing a lot of these things. It seems like these things just pop up, and then there's a big event or a pay-per-view or a Saturday night's main event right around the corner. It's almost like a weekly wrestling promotion promoting weekly events, but it's just one big central event. But they're coming so fast and frequent now. The builds seem off. And I'm sure it'll be a good match, but it just feels like they're rushing into it.
They had a period of time there, and remember we talked about it, where they had, they could do this match and that match and the other match. They go so many different directions. Now they're doing all those matches, but they're kind of coming to, it's been a while since some of them were called for. But they got to do something to make, because fuck, they're just a poor sports entertainment company trying to make a living in this brave new world. They're hurting for money. They need to make $50 or $100 million every time the sun rises, or elsewise they'll be out of business. Anyway, there was one more thing that I saw on this program, Brian, which was the main event, the tornado match with the Usos and the Bronze, Reed and Breaker, where it's all 4 guys in the ring is legal, no disqualification, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm loving Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed as a tag team. And that's what we've needed, is 2 guys together that are both at the main event level to be in team matches so that it means something. And I get that the Usos are, by virtue of that they were tag team champions for so long, and they built up how they were allegedly the greatest team of all time because of that, et cetera. I can't look forward to Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker wrestling if they're wrestling the Usos, because as over and popular as the Usos are, Brian, they're the shits, aren't they? As an actual wrestling tag team, aren't they kind of the shits?
They're not my favorite. I'm not a big fan of the way they work.
And again, it's 2 of them doing the same thing. It's sort of like when one of the Samoans wrestles the other one of the Samoans. It's now we got 2 guys on one side doing the same. It just, anyhow, Braun Breaker for a break spot. I see what they did there. The breaker spot came off the railing of 10 feet to the announce desk and clotheslined Jimmy and just knocked him ass over tea kettle, and he was out. So then the next segment, they come back and they're getting heat on Jay, but it's 2-on-1, 2 heels and 1 baby face. And it was long, but here's the problem. The way that you do this angle where they've taken one partner out and the heels get heat by it being 2-on-1 with 1 guy sidelined is when it's a regular tag team match, when the heels are tagging in and out, but the fresh man can always come in so that the babyface can't capitalize on his little underneath flurry because the guy tags out and boom. And the heat comes from they're taking advantage of the numbers instead of breaking the rules. Well, here there are no rules. And it's just 2 heels beating up 1 baby face, and the referee has to stand there and look at it. But finally, they're going to splash Jay, and Jimmy came back and made a comeback. And even with his ribs hurt, boom, 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 he was able to do some shit until Bronson Reed hit a Death Valley driver and Braun Breaker speared Jay. and they stacked them up. We're going to go to splash them. And Roman's music plays. And here comes Roman out carrying a chair. And he gets a big pop. But, Brian, did you notice there's the Usos laying there unconscious in the ring when his music starts playing? The camera goes to the entranceway. Here comes Roman Reigns. By the time he gets to the ring, the Usos have disappeared. They're not in the ring. They're not even visible on the floor anywhere. They're hiding somewhere. Did you notice that?
Bloodline magic.
So he shit cans Breaker. He hits Bronson Reed 5 times with the chair. Then he beats up Braun, rolled him back in the ring, and the Usos double teamed him. Double super kick, and double splash, and beat Braun Breaker 1, 2, 3. So the baby faces, the odds were even. It was 2 on 2, but they needed help from the third guy to even things out. And then Roman Reigns beat Braun Breaker up 5 times more with the chair, and fucking off they went. And Roman and Jimmy shook and hugged and pep talked and all that stuff. And Jay was in the middle of the camera shot being left out of the little confab there. But was this constructed oddly to where in the summation of things, when it was 2 against 2, the baby faces couldn't handle things, but when the third guy came out with a chair, well, that helped them win.
Well, the other thing, too, is this whole episode almost felt like Vince was in charge. Everything was drawn out so much. Like, especially here at the end. Took forever for everything to go down. Took forever for Roman to walk out. Took forever for him to get his beating in. Him and Jay were just standing there holding each other for quite a little while. You know, again, it feels like it's a cooling down in a lot of ways, even though there's a lot of star power and a lot of tickets being sold, but not a lot is happening. Not a lot seems to... Not having booking logic isn't just a Tony Khan issue at times, and it may not be as egregious and things may not be as chaotic and Khan-like as they are in AEW, but it doesn't mean everything in WWE is done the right way or makes the right sense, or makes any sense.
Sometimes they do confuse me too over here. But the Bronze are getting over it. Boy, it takes 3 of the top Samoans to kick their ass. So fuck, watch out for these 2 guys. That's what I've got to say.
Well, that was WWE Raw, Jim. And of course, if you watched all of that wrestling from WWE and you were expecting action, you may say, where's the beef? Or you may say, I'm gonna sue.
Or you may say, where's my lawyer? Well, I'll tell you where he is. He's in Beckley, by God, West Virginia.
Call Stephen P. News. If you need to sue. An outlaw mud show or 2. He'll sue the rest.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the man that is the subject of that chart-topping hit, Stephen P. New at newlawoffice.com, 877-50-STEVE, can take your case. As a matter of fact, he can take your case and turn it into a whole steamer trunk. That's what he can do. He can get you paid in gross tonnages of money. You will have to measure the money that he will get you awarded in court on a scale, ladies and gentlemen, because that's the way the Stephen P. New operates. If somebody has screwed you around, and remember, they got to have some kind of resources to begin with. You can't just sue a goddamn homeless bum on the street. I guess you could, but you're only going to get a stink. But you can get money from people with money, and if they've done something wrong, Stephen P. New will find out and get you that money. 877-50-STEVE, newlawoffice.com. Get even with Stephen.